Well, on to the news tonight. The U.S. right now working on its Syria strategy in the wake of last week's airstrike and on the eve of a big meeting with a top Russian diplomat.
The plan could involve more missiles or pushing Russia to actually get involved. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us now with more on this upcoming meeting in Moscow. Dave.
That's right. Big meeting and a big test for the Secretary of State, for the Trump administration, and even for Russia in some respects. In just a few hours, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will board a plane for Moscow. The #1 topic of discussion will certainly be Syria, and Tillerson may be walking into a hornet's nest, since the relationship between the two countries has taken a beating in the past 2 weeks. Even as the Secretary of State was preparing for his discussions with top Russian officials, the White House press secretary on Monday may have made the mission a little more difficult, warning that if Syrian President Bashar Assad orders another chemical barrel bomb attack, it could be met with more U.S. strikes against Syria.
The sight of people being gassed and blown away by barrel bombs ensures that if we see this kind of action again, we hold open the possibility of future action.
Since the deadly sarin gas attack in Syria last week, the Trump administration has been pointing the finger of blame at Russia, which was supposed to be overseeing the surrender of all chemical weapons by Syria.
Regardless of whether Russia was complicit here, or whether they were simply incompetent, or whether they got outwitted by the Bashar al-Assad regime, you would have to ask the Russians that question.
By the same token, the Kremlin and Iran called last week's U.S. missile strikes on a Syrian airbase a violation of international law and demanded an unbiased investigation of the gas attack. On the eve of Secretary of State Rex Tillerson's Russian meetings, Press Secretary Spicer says the U.S. missile attack has created the conditions for regime change there.
We are ensuring that ISIS is contained and there's a de-escalation of the proliferation of chemical weapons, at the same time creating the environment for a change in leadership.
Now, CNN reports State Department officials say Tillerson's message to Russia this week will be Russia will be held responsible for Assad's actions in Syria.
You know, wouldn't it be a great thing if we could actually get along with Russia?
Maybe, but despite Mr. Trump's effort to improve relations with Russia, Secretary Tillerson's meetings with Russia's top diplomat Wednesday and possibly President Vladimir Putin himself could get pretty tense. CBS News reports Tillerson will push the Russians to stop propping up Assad, prevent future use of chemical weapons, and will raise concerns about alleged election meddling in the U.S. and Europe. He will be the first Trump administration cabinet official to visit Russia for the new administration. And Senator John McCain says Tillerson should issue a blunt warning to the Russians.
The United States should first tell Russia that this kind of war crime is unacceptable in the world today.
Now, one problem the Russians may have is deciphering exactly what U.S. policy towards Syria is. There have been a flurry of contradictory and conflicting statements from administration officials about what the U.S. wants in Syria and how far it intends to go. Even the question of whether Russia knew in advance about last week's Syria chemical attack has gotten a variety of answers from administration officials. So a lot to be sorted out.
Yeah, a very fluid situation certainly is, Dave. Now, let's talk about any political fallout here in America as a result of the airstrikes in Syria. What's happening here?
Well, we're beginning to find out. We have some new numbers out tonight. A new CBS News poll out tonight shows that 57% of Americans approve of the airstrike on Syria, which 36% disapprove. That's a pretty solid number for the president's handling of this affair. But for the question of what now, how far are you willing to go in Syria, the answer is much more cautious. Only 18% would go as far as sending in U.S. ground troops to Syria. 30% say only airstrikes, no ground forces. 26% say no more military options, only diplomatic talks. And 15% say there should be no more U.S. involvement in Syria at all, in any way. These numbers reflect a much more deeply divided country, with nearly half of Americans okay with some form of further U.S. military response, but 41% say no more military action in Syria. Those folks say stick with trying to find a solution through diplomacy or stay out of Syria altogether. Just get away from it. Jeff?